I'm Kathy Mercure, and I'm a storyteller. Welcome to using writing prompts to tell your stories. I'm so grateful that you've chosen to allow me to help you write from your heart. Thank you for joining me. I hope you will enjoy this series of 6 videos and then continue on with the exercises that are included in the workshop package. I've designed these classes to become more challenging, to ask more of you, and to encourage you to go just a little deeper each time. Before we get started, let me tell you about me. I've been a writer since I first learned how to write, but I stopped writing stories pretty much at the age of 10. I was in Miss Stewart's grade 4 class, and she gave us the assignment to write a story about how Halloween began. I was so proud when I received my story back with a big gold sticker on it that meant I had done an excellent job. I think Miss Stewart may even have read my story to the class. I was so excited to show my mother my masterpiece, I practically ran home from school. I remember looking up at my mother, handing her my story, and feeling all squirmy with excitement inside as she stood in front of me. She read my story, and instead of the praise I was expecting, I heard accusation in her voice when she said, "Where did you copy this from?" I was completely and absolutely devastated, and I felt the shock of shame rush over me like a flood of cold water. Believe me when I say, I had told lots of tall tales to squirm my way out of trouble, but this story was all mine, and from a place I had never tapped into before. I'm not telling you this because I want you to think my mother was a horrible person. She wasn't. I just think she couldn't understand how something so imaginative and creative could come from someone she gave birth to. And because she couldn't believe in herself, she didn't believe in me. It took me a long time to understand this, but I usually tell the story every time I do a writing workshop now. I want you to know that I understand why you may feel that you can't write. We've all had people in our lives that have dismissed us, made us feel we couldn't do something, or tried to shut down that creative self that exists inside each of us. Even though I stopped writing stories, I couldn't stop writing. I became a promotional and advertising writer before doing the same as a freelancer. Instead of telling my stories, I told other people's stories, and I'm very good at it, even if I do say so myself. But it wasn't until a friend challenged me that I ever thought about offering writing workshops. How could I give a workshop when I couldn't explain what I do intuitively? It just comes out of me somehow. But my friend sparked something in me. I developed the Writing from the Heart method through trial and error. I practiced it on myself, and it has helped me to heal my inner storyteller and so much more. And it has helped many others over the last few years. I believe we all have a story to tell. Whether joyous or sad, unlocking your stories and writing them down makes for powerful journaling experiences. You can also write them in a memoir or personal blog to help others. But most importantly, if you have painful stories and bring them to the light, they lose their hold and you can let them go. Just as the story I told you about my mother no longer prevents me from writing my stories, letting go creates room for more new stories to be created. That being said, even if you are the most disciplined journal writer, you might find yourself stuck sometimes with nothing to say. And that's where this workshop comes in. In the dozens of Writing from the Heart workshops I've facilitated in the past few years, each time my students don't want it to end. They want more. And many have said that after the initial flood of stories that come from attending my workshop, they eventually get stuck and need help. That's what using writing prompts to tell your stories is all about. But before we get to using the writing prompts, I want to help you disconnect from your inner critic and to go to a place of knowing your heart. In this video, I focus on helping you to learn how to use the Writing from the Heart method to listen to your heart and write down what it has to say. So, let's get started. Here's what you need for writing from the heart. A quiet, private place to write. Think of it like a private room or a comfortable chair in your house, in the early morning or late evening when you will be uninterrupted. I've even done this practice in a cafe. There is something very private and cocoon-like about the hum of unintelligible conversation going on around me that makes writing very easy. You can sit at a table, on the couch with your feet up, or sit or lie on the floor with a pillow, whatever position you will be comfortable sitting at for 25 minutes or so, which is how long you'll be writing. Coffee, tea, or water is also fine if it makes you more comfortable. You'll also need a paper to write on. It can be anything you like, a bound journal, lined or blank sheets of loose paper, or even a pad of newsprint. Whatever you like to write on is fine. As an extremely tactile person, I like my paper to be soft and very smooth so the pen glides over it effortlessly. You'll need a pen that feels good to write with. Most people who journal tend to have a favorite type of pen to write with. For me, the pen has to glide easily over the paper, and padding for my middle finger is a must as I press hard when I write. I also found writing with a fountain pen to be inspirational, but I'm a bit of a pen geek. You'll need something to gaze at. In this video series, almost every writing practice features a grouping of flickering candles, but it could also be anything you find calming, such as a picture of a sunset, a silent video of waves lapping on the shore, or even an object like a statue of the Buddha. Whatever you can get lost in and not be distracted by while you are listening to your heart. You'll also need a timing device with a gentle alarm. Most smartphones have timer apps with an alarm in them. Just make sure you pick a gentle alarm because if you are in the flow of writing, you won't want to be startled out of deep concentration. And finally, there's music. For me, this is the most helpful part of this practice. I discovered Bach cello years ago, and for the longest time it was the only music I could have playing when I wrote. When I discovered that I was listening to Baroque music and why, a whole new world dawned upon me. I highly recommend classical music from the Baroque period. Bach and Handel are the two most commonly recognized composers of that era. Baroque music is excellent for use in writing from the heart practice, but some people love spa music, others the sound of nature, still others swear they can concentrate best when they are in a cafe, where the ambient noise and sounds of indistinct conversation make everything else fade away. Definitely, though, choose music or sounds without words or catchy tunes. The music you will hear in this video and throughout the run of these videos is from the website focusatwill.com. They have generously allowed me to use their specifically chosen music that is proven to help with concentration. You can sign up for a free 30-day trial and choose from over a dozen stations that play different music, ambient sounds, nature sounds, and even cafe noise. The various forms of music and ambient noise, like what you will find at Focus at Will, has been scientifically studied and proven to help improve your attention, concentration, focus, and flow by as much as 400%. Listening to music with soothing aspects that plays at about 60 to 80 beats per minute decreases brain activity and leads to a relaxed but awake state called alpha. The alpha state is characterized by an increase in alpha brain waves and a decrease in the higher activity beta waves. increases in alpha waves have been tied to a psychological state of decreased self-awareness, timelessness, and motivation known as flow. Songwriters, musicians, writers, athletes, and meditators have all described the same experience when flow state is reached. One other important element of writing from the heart is that we do not use a computer. Writing longhand will slow down your brain and keep the inner critic from freezing you up, so that you can capture and write what your heart is saying to you. I also think you won't be as tempted to correct your spelling, punctuation, and grammar, instead focusing on listening to your heart. The practice is very simple. Write wherever you are most comfortable, even if it's a cafe, in which case you may not need the music. Simply start the music, light a candle, or put your gazing object in front of you. Start the timer, relax, and still your mind by taking some slow, rhythmic breaths to get ready. During writing from the heart practice, we write for about 25 minutes at a time. It's as simple and challenging as that. There are a few guidelines to follow when it comes to writing from your heart. First, listen to what you write. This practice is really not about writing, it's about listening. During writing practice, you will connect your heart to your brain, to your pen, and be the receiver, listener, and writer. So become a receiver of your thoughts. Slow down and write. Don't worry about sentence structure, grammar, punctuation, and logic. Just listen and write. If you have no idea what you are doing, write, "I have no idea what I'm doing here," and go from there. Don't let it stop you. Anything you write is fine. I promise if you keep it up, it will get better the more you practice. And secondly, be ready to go beneath the surface by asking the go deeper question. It may seem difficult at first to stay with your thoughts and make sense of them, but use this tool to help you stay present. I call it the go deeper question. What do I mean by? When you use the go deeper question, you are following the rabbit down the hole to discover the emotional meaning behind the words you've written. Certain words may bring memories to you. For example, if you're afraid of heights, the words edge or falling may be triggers for you. The Go Deeper question helps you to investigate these words and phrases, very often leading you down a path towards story or discovery. Here's an example from an earlier writing I did when I started working with this practice a few years ago. I feel as though I'm alone in a crowd. What do I mean by alone? I don't do small talk very well. What do I mean by small talk? Well, I crave deep, soul-nurturing conversation that makes me feel connected to the person I'm talking to. And it is through these conversations I feel my connection to a higher source and understand how incredible that life is when I'm connected. Use the Go Deeper question as many times as you need to. Whenever there is a sense of emotion or story in a word or phrase you have heard and written, don't worry if you've gone completely off track, off topic, or away from where you started. This writing isn't meant for publishing. It's meant to help you dig deeper, discover the stories of your life, and perhaps look at your stories in a different way than how you've always perceived them. With a bit of practice, you will find yourself going deeper without having to remind yourself to ask the Go Deeper question. You'll begin to follow that wascally rabbit without realizing you are doing it. And that's a very good thing. To help you relax and calm your mind, I'll take you through a short guided relaxation. Close your eyes and cup your hands over them gently. Wait until a curtain of darkness falls and then take a few deep rhythmic breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Let all your jumbled thoughts fall away and begin to slow down until you can hear each one as it passes by. Breathe in, breathe out. As you listen, allow your body to feel the difference between a thought from your head and a message from your heart. Your heart or your higher self has only the best intentions for you. Breathe in. Breathe out. As you are breathing and listening, allow yourself to know which thought will begin your writing. It's okay if your mind is going too fast or you are having a hard time hearing. Just listen, breathe, and relax. When you hear something that your heart wants to say, begin writing. Or begin by simply writing, "I don't know what to say," and move on from there. Imagine your thoughts as spoken words and write them exactly as you hear them, moment by moment. Begin when you are ready. Remember to ask yourself the go deeper question: what do I mean by? Go deeper. What do I mean by? Your 25-minute Writing from the Heart practice is done. Take a moment to finish your sentence. When I do a writing from the heart class with a group of students, I always ask if anyone is willing to read what they wrote to the rest of the class. I encourage you to read what you wrote out loud, even if only to yourself, because it can sound very different than what you thought you were writing. You may be surprised that what you thought was a jumble of words actually makes a lot of sense. Reading aloud also allows you to bear witness and hear your thoughts from a different perspective. Before we finish, I want to leave you with some final thoughts. Scientific studies have shown that it takes about 20 minutes to get to where your alpha brain waves lead you to the state of decreased self-awareness, timelessness, and motivation called flow. If you find you are not ready to stop when the timer goes off, you can pause the video and continue until you are ready to stop. Don't worry if you are not happy with what you've written. This is not meant to be polished writing. Some of my students write down only fragments of thoughts, words, or poetry. Others connect to memory and tell stories. And still others struggle the first few times and feel that what they wrote is not what their heart needed to say. Trust in the process. As you use the Go Deeper question more and more, you will find that your thoughts become clearer and your writing helping you change and grow. I ask you to resist the temptation to revise your writing when you read it through. It's already perfect as it is because it's a reflection of where you were at that moment. However, I would suggest that if you are reading it aloud to yourself or reading it over, if there are words that stand out for you, highlight them or underline them and use them in another writing practice, asking the Go Deeper question to lead you on a path to discovery. You may keep going back to a thought again and again. Keep asking the Go Deeper question to break through to what is underneath. By peeling back the layers of the onion, you may find a hidden gem of pure delight or answers to something that have been holding you back in your life. Even if it is a truth you may not have been prepared to face, asking the gently probing question, "What do I mean by?" could bring you to a deeper understanding of yourself and to your authentic voice. Follow the rabbit down, down, down. One more important thing about this writing from the heart practice, it is just that, a practice. You never have to worry about perfecting it because you can always use it to learn more about yourself. And I want you to use this method in whatever way works for you. As you get more comfortable with writing from the heart, make it your own. When I first started writing, I was very strict with myself. I sat at a table, lit the candle, played only Baroque, wrote only on unlined paper, wrote only for 25 minutes, and I didn't allow myself any distractions. I followed the method to a T. As I became more comfortable with going deeper, I began to sit on my comfy couch with my feet up, wrote in a journal, usually had a cup of coffee at hand. I rarely now need to light the candle, and I consider myself just getting started at 20 minutes. Really make this practice your own. I hope that you feel a similar state of calm and contented emptiness that I often feel when I'm doing a writing from the heart practice. Consider this writing a practice like meditation and do it regularly. Flex your listening muscle. If you do it every day, it could become as important as your daily exercise regime or eating well. I consider it a part of my spiritual practice, and I hope you will someday as well. Thank you for trying writing from the heart. By doing it with a mind that is open to hearing what the heart has to say, You are laying the foundation for the next 5 sessions of using writing prompts to tell your stories. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm always interested in hearing about your experiences. Until next time, here's to being lost in the memory.